How's it going, guys? Tyler with Senti Arms, sitting out here with my partner Robert, who's behind the camera. Wanted to bring you one of the first videos in our video series of just good tips and how-tos on how to be more effective shooting at night. So we wanted to go over rifle setup today. It's something that's very simple that a lot of people overlook or possibly have things set up incorrectly just because they haven't had the opportunity or had the need to shoot after dark yet. But we've got two rifles out here, two very similar setups, but two different platforms. We've got a Knight's Armament Mod 2 11.5-inch SBR, and we've got a Block 2 CQBR SBR, both of which are suppressed. So we'll kind of just start from the front forward and work our way back on rifle setup. This is the Knight's Armament Mod 2. It's an 11.5-inch SBR. One thing that we really recommend when getting into night vision and starting to shoot after dark is to have suppressors. Once you add suppressors to the gun, that's going to increase the overall length and footprint of the weapon system. So we also recommend to pair that with a short-barreled rifle or an AR pistol of some form. That's going to decrease your overall footprint, and that's going to make you more effective, especially because when you're under night vision, you don't have the peripheral vision that you do in the field of view that you do during the daytime. So a smaller weapon system is going to help you out quite a bit. So we've already gone over the suppressor. Moving back, we've got a PEC-15. This is an IR laser and illuminator, and definitely going to be a huge necessity when you start getting into night vision and setting up your rifle. There's a lot of different lasers out on the market. We really like the PEC-15s for various reasons, but we'll go over that more in depth in other videos. So one thing about the laser is you're going to want to place the laser as far forward on the rail as possible. Reason being is you might see some people put them back here in front of their optics or at the 3 o'clock position. We recommend to have it at the 12 o'clock position unless you're running a clip-on, but again, something we'll go on into in another video. But the 12 o'clock position, it's going to allow you to activate the laser on the unit. And when you look at how you want to run your gun, a lot of people use dual switches, and dual switches definitely are a necessity. However, we don't want to rely on those for the main point of activation for your laser. Reason being, out of this entire rifle, the dual switch, that's going to be inherently the weakest point. So we want to decrease the probability of us having a failure. So activating that laser on the actual unit is going to give us a lot more benefit for and potential for success. Moving over to the flashlight, we've got a Surefire M300V, or M600V, I'm sorry. And a lot of people ask, do I want a white light version or do I want a vampire version? That's something we'll go into of when we choose what version in another video. But like the laser, we want to mount that flashlight as far forward as possible so we decrease the amount of suppressor shadow that we get when we're throwing that white light downrange. Now there's various products that move the light up more towards the end of the gun, but we like to set our rifles up where we can take the suppressor off and shoot suppressed or unsuppressed without actually changing the setup of the gun, and keeping it right here at the tip of the gun. We can remove this suppressor and still not have to move the flashlight, which would be changing hardware. Moving back, we've got our dual switch. So working off that mentality of most important to least important, we have our laser up front, which we're going to activate on the actual unit. And then there's various tail caps that you can get for these Surefires that have a constant on as well, but most of the time you're going to be using a momentary on, so you're going to be forced to use the dual switch. So how we set our guns up is we go first laser, then back to the first button on the dual switch is going to activate that white light. So reason for that is because if we need the laser, we're going to activate it on the unit. Drop back if we need the white light, we're going to go right here, first button on the dual switch. And then the third button is going to be the laser activation. If you need to go and shoot opposite, then you can go and come here and activate the laser right with that dual switch. Then also moving back, we did a short video here recently on sling placement, but we like to have the sling placement all the way up towards the receiver. That's because when you're activating the laser and manipulating the dual switch, you don't want to have slings in your way that you're fighting with your kit, because again, your field of view is greatly decreased at night, so you don't want to be fighting with your equipment to accomplish the goal that you're trying to accomplish. Also, when we look at optics, you may notice that we've got this Aimpoint Comp M5 sitting on a Knight's Armament skyscraper mount. Reason being is we run binocular night vision. So when you've got binocular night vision, and there's going to be certain cases where you may not want to have an IR signature, so you may not want to throw that laser. So if you're on the gun and you're using the laser and you need to drop down, it's easier to drop down and pick up the dot with a taller mount with the night vision on than it is a lower mount. The Block 2, you'll see, has an EXPS3 on it. That's going to be a lower 1/3 witness, but the difference is the EOTech, it's got a much larger field of view, so it's a lot easier to get your dual tubes or binocular night vision behind a EOTech than it is an aim point. So if you're going to run an aim point, we definitely recommend you to boost that up to a higher height on your mount so you have a better probability for success. So that's just a real quick setup on how we do our rifles and kind of the mentality behind it. And if you have any questions, definitely drop us a comment and let us know what you think. But that's how we set up our rifles.